You can order the coolant used in the video on CarParts.com via the link in the description. Turn your engine off. Set the parking brake. Pull on the hood release handle and open the hood. This will allow you to see the radiator cap as well as the coolant reservoir. To facilitate the flow of liquid while draining, open the radiator cap. In order to perform a coolant flush on your vehicle, you will need to lift your vehicle to have full access. Lift the front of your vehicle. Place the vehicle on the jack stands. We strongly suggest watching our video on how to jack your Honda Accord safely before carrying out this step. When completely bleeding your cooling system, we advise you do it when the engine is cold. Get a fluid collection container to collect the coolant that will flow out. On this vehicle, the radiator is equipped with a bleed screw, which you access from the underside of the vehicle on the driver's side. You can then unscrew the bleed screw to let the coolant flow. You can control the flow of coolant by plugging the air inlet into the radiator with your hand. Be careful, this is not easy. Once drained, close the bleed screw. Open the coolant reservoir cap. When you completely bleed the coolant, we advise you to completely empty the coolant from the reservoir using a pump or syringe. Before adding coolant, we advise you to thoroughly clean the coolant system by filling the coolant reservoir and the radiator with demineralized water. Once the system has been filled, close the cap of the reservoir and that of the radiator. Hey, it's Alex from CarParts.com. If you enjoyed this video and want to support us, like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, back to work. Start your vehicle. Make sure the air conditioning is turned off. Then turn the ventilation and heating to maximum in order to circulate the liquid in the heater core. You can maintain the acceleration around 2,000 RPM to accelerate the engine warm-up. Once the engine is at operating temperature, with the engine temperature rising, the thermostat should open. Check that the hose coming out of the thermostat is hot. This means that the thermostat is in the open position and the liquid is circulating through the engine. Also check that the heater core supply hoses are hot and that hot air is coming out of the ventilation. This means that the liquid is circulating freely through the heating circuit. You can then turn off the ignition and wait about 1 hour for the motor temperature to drop back down. Once the engine is cold, open the radiator cap and repeat the bleeding operation. Once the demineralized water has been bled, close the bleed screw. You can purchase the parts we used here by visiting our website at CarParts.com. You can order the coolant used in the video on CarParts.com via the link in the description. For this vehicle, we advise you to follow the manufacturer and product recommendations to adapt coolant dilution to the specifications of your vehicle where necessary. You can now fill the system with coolant through the radiator cap. Close the cap. Also, fill the coolant reservoir to the minimum level. Reopen the radiator cap to allow air to escape during the next operation. Squeeze the coolant hoses several times to help expel air bubbles from the cooling system. Close the cap. Start your vehicle. Make sure the air conditioning is turned off. Then turn the ventilation and heating to maximum in order to circulate the liquid in the heater core. Once the engine is at operating temperature, check the opening of the thermostat by making sure the hose coming out of the thermostat is hot. This means that the thermostat is in the open position and the liquid is circulating through the engine. Also check that the heater core supply hoses are hot and that hot air is coming out of the ventilation. This means that the liquid is circulating freely through the heating circuit, and air bubbles are not obstructing the circulation. Turn off your vehicle's ignition. Readjust the coolant reservoir to the maximum level. Then gently lower your vehicle to the ground. We advise you to check the general condition of the cooling hoses to make sure there are no cracks or leaks. During the first few miles of driving, pay special attention to your coolant level, which will have to be readjusted if necessary. Also check regularly for leaks on the ground. Operation complete.